Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Beauty on a Budget. My name is Heather and today is Tuesday, February 27th of 2024. So I am doing my weekly calendars. I would normally do these, I think, Sunday night or Monday morning. Sunday we had our house was viewed, and then yesterday I spent all day cleaning my car, so I never got out here to do this. So I have this big one that I love, and it's got the color coordinating, so each week is a different color, and it also has sticky notes, which I love these sticky notes too, although you can see I don't really use the sticky notes. And this one I've had for a while and it's falling apart, but that's okay, it still works. And the calendar I made last month ended on the 25th, that was Sunday, so that's, good time to now come and start this new week. So first thing I always do is up here in the corner, just in pencil, I write the day of the week. And this month, it's a leap year, so there isn't 29 days. So I kind of forgot about that when I was doing one of my other calendars, and I had to go back and erase everything. That's why I do it in pencil first. And this calendar is also a little bit confusing because it is like a business type calendar, so it starts with the Monday, and I did the first time I used one of these calendars where it's Monday is the beginning of the week because it's the beginning of your work week, that I sometimes would write the wrong date as well. So just always make sure when you're doing your calendars and planners and stuff that you've got the right day of the week and you've got the right month, because I have written up these calendars and I forgot to flip the month to the next month, or I flipped one extra month and rewrite all the numbers, and then it's all wrong. Okay, so this will give me from February 26th to March 24th. And I know Easter's in here, daylight saving is in here. So those are some important things that I have to write on my calendar. Today is a special day at our house. Today is our dog's birthday, so that's an important one to write. And this is the leap year. So it's an extra day, so I write that on my calendar. I have my other calendar right here, and I just don't see it. I always have calendars always beside me, and I move something, and now I just gotta grab my other calendar. I have a small day planner that I keep here in my craft room, office, whatever you want to call this room, and I don't see it. So I ran up to the living room and I grabbed my larger day planners, just because I don't know where my little one is. Because I've got this larger one here, so I open up and it's the full month. And then I got this larger coiled one, which is every page, every page is a new week. So I use both of these. So this is just, I can write more detailed for the week, and then I've got my full month at a glance. So I'm just gonna use the full month at a glance, just so I know when, I know daylight savings was the 10th. So we have to change our clocks where we live. So move clocks. See, it's spring ahead and fall back. So move clocks ahead. I think this happens at like 2 in the morning. At 2 a.m. Now usually, most of our stuff does it automatically, but we do have a couple things like the coffee pot, the microwave, and the oven. I have to change, and the alarm clocks. I have to change those. Then there's the couple wall clocks that my husband changes. Although we've got one that we didn't change, and we're like, well, the lace is right half the year, so you know it's just in a really bad spot. Now it needs batteries, so we're not going to do that one for a while. Okay, so I'm just trying to see what's important here. Just trying to find when Easter is. Actually, you know, Easter's at the very end of March. Easter doesn't even get on my calendar. Oh, no, Palm Sunday. I'm doing laundry, and so is my daughter, and the washer and dryer is just right on the other side of this wall, and they're very unbalanced at the moment, so they just make extra noise. Palm Sundays are good. Well, first day of spring is the 19th, so I'll write that one down. There we go. And then my daughter just has other days that she's got for school. But everything seems to be, you know, the last week of March, and my calendar doesn't go that far. So that's this one. I'm just going to double check this weekly calendar here for what's coming up in March, just in case there's extra things that I have written down. And nope, I've got nothing planned for the next few weeks in my calendar, so that is good. So basically, as of right now, this calendar here for this month, and then I will fill in this other stuff. So this is March. And then I will just go over top of that with pen in a little bit. And I've got my weekly planner. And I'm just gonna do my basic weekly planner. What I do is I just write what I'm cleaning and what we're making for supper. So the first bit of it is just easy. So I'll be cleaning just my living room, and the dining room. I can spell. And I've got my kitchen with a great room, and my pencil needs to be sharpened. And Wednesdays is the bathrooms. And the master bedroom. And my craft room, office. And then Saturday I do the whole house tidy. And then Sunday I find one thing to clean. And then I gotta figure out my meal plan. Now this was last week's, and I can say there's a few items on here, which say we're already at Tuesday. So last night I actually made the sweet and sour pork chops. If I can spell. I have the stuff for pierogies. Maybe I'll do pierogies and French fries tonight. And I've got the stuff for the Asian noodle soup. And then I do have lamb. Maybe I'll make lamb on Saturday. I know something we haven't made for a long time, spaghetti. I have not made spaghetti for a long time. Maybe I'll change this. I will make spaghetti Friday, then we can have spaghetti Friday, Saturday, and I can make the lamb on Sunday. Spaghetti, and then this will be leftovers. And then Thursday will also be leftovers. I love being able to have days where I can just write leftovers. And then I don't need any ingredients because this was my shopping list for last week. So last week I needed sour cream, bacon bits, my Asian soup broth, Japanese sweet potato, purple yams, but I couldn't find any purple yams last week, bread and eggs. Now I do know that I need milk. I can write. is that my pencil needs to be sharpened. I don't know where my pencil sharpener is right now, but I need milk. I do need bread. So I didn't buy any last week. I did buy eggs. I think that's all I need is just milk and bread. Oh, I need pet food. It's not like one of those things. It's not one of our food items, but I do need pet food. So that is my calendar's done for this week, and this calendar is done for the next month. So we're coming into the beginning of the month, so I'm just going to grab my other calendar system. This is the calendar system of my budgeting planner. That's what I was going to go grab. So I'll be back in just a few moments with my budgeting calendar for the month. All right, so I couldn't find my budget calendar chart that I usually use when I'm doing this, but I just went to Pinterest. I just took a screenshot and printed a basic one out. Only that way I'm not going to forget things that I want to talk about. So this one has it in 4 categories, which I really like, when you can break down where you spend your money into different categories. So it has your income. Now when it comes to income, that is the one that I find when you're married or common law or living with somebody, you have to be totally honest with how much income you really have coming in from all sources. So I had my day home, and my husband has, his business. We're both self-employed. And then I get the child tax, and then there's some other government programs a couple times a year, and my husband gets, I think it was a GST is in his name. There's some other rebate stuff, and it comes in his name. It makes no difference who gets it. But again, that's something that we always have to budget for. Now that my day home is closed, my only actual income is my child tax. And I only have one still under 18, so I get about $500 a month. So this is going to be a really, really tight few months that we have here with our house being up for sale, and I'm not working, and my husband is, business is a little slow at this time of year. So where it comes to the income, that's a tricky one for me to fill out. So doing this, I'm just going to put mine at 500. Now what I like about this one too is they have the room for your budget and your actual income. So you see how much you think you have, and then how much do you really get. Well, I'm putting in 500. I don't know what it is. It varies month to month. It's between 493 and one month I got 502. So within that range, so I'm just gonna write 500. I don't know what the actual will be, so I'm just putting 500. My husband, I have no idea how much he makes in a month, and I don't know about his other investments and stuff that he has. He had stuff set up before we got together. I've never asked him about it. I know he's cashed stuff in when we bought this house, and again when we sell this house he wants to put that investment back in. That's his stuff. I don't know anything about it. And then of course it's talking, the next one is your expenses, so it's talking about savings, retirement, other investments, your home mortgage, I guess, or rent. That's important. I'd say we don't pay rent, we own, but we also don't have a mortgage. So we don't have a mortgage and we don't rent. So that's a big factor for a lot of people. Then it says homeowners insurance. I don't know what we pay for home insurance. I do know what our property taxes are, and you pay that either monthly, but my husband likes to pay for the full year at a time. So I do know our property taxes are due in, I think it's June, July, somewhere in there. So I know we've got a few months before it's due again. And then car payments, car loans. Again, we bought the car outright. We don't have to worry about, car loans. How many vehicles do you own? How much do you pay every month on your cars? Car insurance, that I actually do pay, and we actually pay our car insurance once a year. It's cheaper if you can pay it in less payments. It's cheaper. My car insurance, I'd say in 10 years, has never gone down, but every time I go and redo it, they're like, well, it didn't go up because everybody's just going up. So, you know, been paying about the same amount for my car insurance for the last 10 years, and my vehicle's 10 years old. I think that this year coming up, it should really drop. If it doesn't, we're gonna switch companies. My husband just said that the other day. He's like, we're gonna switch companies if they can't give us a better deal. Health insurance and life insurance. We live in Alberta. We have basic Alberta healthcare. We don't pay. Me and my husband are both self-employed. We don't have any extended benefits. So anything medical wise, we pay out of pocket for anything we need. Then it has your utilities, so phone. So we have a landline my husband pays. I have cell phones, so me and all my kids. So I pay the cell phones. And I say right now for me and two of my kids, it's about $280-ish. My son turned 18, but we didn't put it over in his name yet. So he just pays me for his phone bill for the month. And then the other utilities, so electricity, gas, and our water or city bill, my husband pays. I don't really know what they are. I'm being honest, I really don't know what their utilities really are every month. I know they've gone up a lot in the last year, especially with the carbon tax has really increased it. My husband really is saying, like, you know, how much we used to pay for one utility for, like, you know, what we're paying for one utility used to be like a month for all of the utilities. So our utilities have really jumped. Cable or internet, and I'm gonna say cable we don't have. That was just an expense. We did have cable for a while, but when it was like $150 for cable, we just don't need it. We went with just the basic internet package, and again, I think it's around $100 for just that. And we're like, well, we do need the internet for lots of reasons, the kids in school, and then we can just watch stuff on YouTube, basically, or the other ones, I don't remember. My husband found some other sites that we can watch TV shows on, and so I say we don't do Netflix, we don't do Amazon Prime. I mean, I'd love to get Paramount maybe when we move. And then any other expenses that you have for utilities. And then it has debit, so it has like your credit card, store cards, or other loans and other payments. I have a couple store credit cards. I use them for emergencies. I have one that I use for gas. That way, if I need gas, it's when I was between paychecks, you know, I could always make sure I had gas money. And then has the next category is flexible expenses. So they've got childcare, clothing, entertainment, groceries, gas, gifts, healthcare, household, maintenance for your car, maintenance for your house, pet supplies, recreation, vacation, and then there's a couple blank spots for other. Now childcare, I guess, you know, don't have to worry about that. I never put my kids in daycare. I stayed at home. So that saved us thousands of dollars a year by me staying at home. But childcare expenses would be, you know, my daughter, she's in high school. It's expensive. The schooling here is expensive, you know, like. So I just had to give her money this morning so she could be part of the bike-a-thon thing coming up in a couple of weeks. Clothing. See, clothing is a tricky one. I don't actually put clothing on my budget. Clothing is something that I consider shopping a fun thing to do when I have extra cash. I will say since November, I've had no money. So going shopping, you know, going to the mall, it just doesn't feel the same. I like to look around. I love to go to the Bath and Body Works, and I used to go to Charmed Aroma, but they closed out just before Christmas. Or the other one, the Body Shop. I love those products, and Sage. And so I like to walk around, see what's new, you know, but can't buy anything at the moment. Entertainment, I will be totally honest and say, I don't think we do anything. We don't go to movies. Wasn't really a big deal, you know, with my own kids growing up. They didn't really seem to care if we went or not. We have got a cheap cheap theater. Tuesdays, they're cheap days, so that's the day we would go. Groceries is a really tricky one, and I will say when my two older girls moved out, my groceries stayed the same, but I guess that's having a teenage son. He can eat the same amount as two teenage girls. So my budget, my groceries stayed the same. Since he moved out this past summer, and now it's just me, my husband, and my one daughter, I have noticed that the food lasts so much longer. I'm cooking different things. I'm trying new recipes, trying new foods that we've never really thought we could afford. Like I've been cooking a lot of lamb lately. Never thought I'd ever have the budget for lamb. I will say it's really sad when lamb that comes from New Zealand and Australia is like almost cheaper per pound than the cow that's like half an hour drive. I'm in the middle of of cow country where I live basically. So half an hour any direction, I'm buying cows, and it's cheaper for me to buy lamb right now. Okay, so that was interesting. Is the groceries, just keeping track of. If you want to start a budget, just start keeping a track of all your little receipts, and you'd be surprised where you spend money. You don't even realize it. Gas. So gas is a tricky one. I always put in $50, but then when gas here for premium went to over $2 a liter, I went from $50 to $60 just to get an extra day where I wouldn't have to be at the gas, twice in a week. So I actually went to $60 a time. So I actually spend $60 a week on car gas. Gifts. I will be honest and say gifts is a tricky one again. I will put it this way. You've got kids, you've got Christmas and birthday comes all, same time every year. When my kids were little, I used to buy stuff through the entire year and save it and give it to them for Christmas or their birthday, or if I didn't, or sometimes I would misplace a gift, something I wanted for them, and I would misplace something for Christmas, but I would find it in time for their birthday, so it wasn't like it was a wasted money. It was just I go shopping throughout the year, so I'd have extra money some months, so I would go and buy stuff. Like I know Toys R Us would have certain times a year where they have like 40-50% off their flyer stuff, and so that would be a good weekend to go when they're clearing out like their seasonal stuff. Great weekend to go, a great time to go when they're clearing out their seasonal stuff and save it for the next year. Same with my kids for birthday parties for their friends. I set a specific budget for that, knowing I had 4 kids, especially in elementary. How many friends do they have? How many birthday parties would they get invited to? I kind of planned for that, saying, okay, well, cards at the dollar store are like $1 a card, but you go to the secondhand stores and you can find cute little unused birthday cards for kids. What's the difference? 10 cents a card. That does save money. Same with reusable gift bags. Go to the secondhand stores and buy the gift bags or save them. I know there was one gift bag that me and my sister, I don't know how many years we used it. It was a birthday gift bag, and I gave it to her for her birthday, and then comes my birthday, she gave it back to me. Well, I reused it for her. I don't know how many years till finally the bag was being taped up. We hit a point where it's like, okay, it's not gonna be used again. This is the last time we can use this particular bag. It's only gone between the two of us, but it saved us both a lot of money. At that time, both of us being like, she's a single mom with 2 kids. I had a little while where I was a single mom with 4 kids. So that really saved us money. We only put the one bag, but just between the 2 of us, because it was just a little funny inside joke thing. Okay, and then again, it has healthcare. Again, that's a tricky one too, because very cautious. Like, I know we all need to get to the dentist, and we all need to get our eyes done. I haven't been to the dentist in 11 years. So I know that I've got dental problems, just an expense I just don't have. So it's one of the things when the house gets sold, I get to go to the dentist. I'm excited to get to go to the dentist. I'm excited for new glasses, because that's the other thing is my prescription is 7 years old. And so you know, like I went last year to get my eyes tested, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna be prescription. You know, I just do the basic, you know, basic prescription and the basic pair, you know, the complete pair of glasses, the cheapest $100 frames. So I think they went up to $125 frames now. And then you buy the complete package. They'll throw in, you know, your lenses for X amount, and then if you need a little bit different prescription, you pay a little more than that. I'm thinking, okay, probably about $250, $280, I get a pair of glasses. No, last year I went with my eyesight, I actually need bifocals. So that actually made the prescription, my glasses actually about 3 times or almost 4 times what I thought I would be able to get. So, because then that no longer worked with those ones. So I said, okay, fine, I'll just wait. And I said, okay, I'll just have to wait and save the money. Well, I still haven't been able to save the money for my glasses. But when we sell the house, I get glasses. My older 3 kids, they all have, you know, they all work, and so they all have health benefits for work. So I told them that they need to get to the dentist, and then they also, actually, all my kids wear glasses too. So I told them, I said, okay, well, if you 3 with your work benefits, you know, you guys make an appointment when the house sells. You know, make your appointments for your eye exams, make your appointments for your dentist, and use your health program benefits, and then whatever you have to pay on top of that out of pocket, we will pay. So that will be really good. Oh, and then of course the next one is maintenance for your car. I had my tires just rotated just in, I don't know if it was July, August, something like that, midsummer somewhere. And they said that was the last time they can rotate my tires. So my tires, I need new tires. Tires for a vehicle like mine, it's, you know, quite expensive. I do all season. I know some people do the winter tires as well. We just didn't have the budget to do the 2 sets of tires. I talked to the tire guys and the different, you know, the dealership and stuff, and they all agreed that I don't do highway driving. I mean, we're in Alberta, we get lots of snow. I don't drive every day. I'm in the city. I don't do highway driving. So for somebody like me, all season or all weather, whatever they're called, are good enough. If I wanted to go to BC, I probably have to get some snow tires. Because BC changed some laws recently in the last couple of years about tires. Although I'm Alberta and I've got these ones, so depending on, I don't know, I'd have to look at the guidelines on that one, but so I need tires. And I've got some other maintenance, like my oil change and filter is due in probably next month. Like I know in the next couple of weeks I've hit that mileage, or almost hit that mileage. I know within the next month or so I should have hit that mileage for my oil change and filter. I need my cabin air filter done. I need, there was 2 other things that I needed done, and I was gonna get them done, and then I hurt my arm, so I have no income coming in, so we didn't do it. So as soon as, like, again, everything is like, as soon as the house sells, we'll get the car all done, because there was 2 major things, and one is the rear differential needs to be done, and there was something else. Oh, the coolant, that was the other one. They told me that the coolant needs to get redone as well. So those are major things, and they're a couple, you know, like they're quite a couple $100 each to get those done. So, like I said, the car maintenance is always something that you just have to plan for. Usually what it does with vehicles, so my husband pays my car insurance, or most of it. He pays the majority of my car insurance. I pay whatever. He pays X amount towards it. I make up the difference. Minor repairs, so car gas I pay, although currently right now he's paying for my car gas. But currently how we have it set up is I do the basic maintenance on it. So I do the oil change and filter, and I do the car gas, And then there's a few other things I've done and I've paid for on the car, but the major stuff, like when we had to get the bumper redone, we had to get a new transmission. I'm on my 3rd transmission. There's a long story to that one. My vehicle is 10 years old. I've only driven it 111,000 kilometers, and I had my 3rd transmission before I hit 85,000. So very long, 2 long stories on that one. So 3rd transmission, and I don't drive much. And then what else have I done? So my bumper, I wrecked my bumper a couple of years ago. We didn't go through the insurance. We paid out of pocket. There was a long story to that one too. About how I wrecked my bumper. Didn't even know I wrecked it. So my husband paid that. The tires, my husband pays for that. I did some of the basic maintenance. We had some other maintenance done. It was done at the dealership. My vehicle was towed to Edmonton twice. So all this stuff up, or 3 times? 2, 3, maybe 3 times the car was up in Edmonton. So my husband paid for that. When my car was at the dealership getting work on, my husband paid for those 2 times. If I'm taking in for basic maintenance, I pay. My husband did the tires, and he's done all the major expenses because, you know, he makes more money than I do. So that was it. And then the next one, of course, maintenance of the house. I will say any repairs we've done around the house in the last few years, my husband pays for. He's got family and friends who are tradesmen, journeymen. Get them to pay if you can. If you have family or friends who do things, pay them on the side out of pocket. It's so much cheaper than hiring yes, you still, if you're doing major stuff, we had some stuff we had to go and get approved, and we had to get permits for different things we've done. So you have to do it properly. Don't just hire somebody and redo your basement. Go get your permits properly. I will say that's an important one. We've renovated our other house and we've renovated this house. Permits are important. But just the basic maintenance of things, like, okay, the toilet's not flushing. Why go and pay money for a plumber at like $200 an hour or whatever they're gonna charge? You know, if you know somebody who knows some plumbing, pay them to go buy the part, and you know, different things. Painting is pretty easy. Paint does cost a couple $100. I mean, I think we spent, like $500 or $600 on paint to paint this entire house. We painted the garage and all 3 levels of this house. So that's 4,000 square foot home, and it cost us about $600-ish with paint, and I think a little bit more if we counted the primer, because we actually did have to buy primer for one area because we had trouble painting because the other color kind of bled through. The next category is pet supplies. Like I said, even with the pet supplies under there, even though they don't say it, they just say pet supplies. I would also say vet bills is one. Again, basically, I buy the cats and dogs the food. We had guinea pigs and budgies and fish and everything, and so my job was we have the pets, the kids' responsibility is to take care of the animals. My responsibility was to make sure they had their food and treats and anything else like that. The screw just fell out of my chair. Actually, 3 screws just fell out of the bottom of my chair. Okay, I felt the screw. I tightened this the best I could the other day. Now I've got more screws. I think the one I screwed in is still in. I think it's the other 3 are now. Okay, so I'm gonna just go to the other room. Just give me a minute. Okay, I fixed the one screw that fell out the other day when I was, I can see, I've just touched my face. That would be the greasy stuff off the screw, okay. I fixed one of the screws. It fell out like a week or so ago when I was doing something, and I leaned and I felt it move. Today I felt that same little move, but it went the opposite direction, and I stood up and then 3 screws fell out. So I'll give my husband to fix that for me. Oh, my baby kitty. She wants to curl up beside me. I'm sitting on the chair beside her, so now she wants attention. Okay, so I was talking about the pets. So like I said, the kids' responsibility is to take care of the animals, make sure they had their food and water every day, that they got walked or litter box cleaned and stuff like that. My responsibility was to make sure that the animals had their food and treats and all their other supplies. With the 2 dogs, I wanted the dogs, so it's my responsibility for their pet licenses, which are only about $40 a year, something like that. About, I think, just under $40 for the year. And then the basic vet bill I would do, but we had a couple emergency ones, and so they're basic. Yeah, the basic ones where they're yearly checkups for the first, little while. I didn't quite do those every year. Number of pets we had, couldn't always afford it, didn't always have time for it. But she's distracting me now. But so I would do their basic vet visits, their immunizations. All our pets have the surgery, so they can't have babies. And so that was my job, was to do those ones. Emergency ones, there was a couple emergency ones where all our pets had some type of emergency ones where I paid if I could. There was a couple times I took the pets over for a checkup or they needed medication, and I may not have had, sometimes I didn't have the money for their medication. So luckily, I said, I live right across the street from the vet. So, I would, call my husband, he would call the vet and he would pay with his credit card over the phone. Good thing they could do that. Good thing, I say, if you talk to the vet and if it's an emergency, you tell them I have this amount of cash on me right now today. I can pay the rest tomorrow. I'm like, I live across the street. It's not very far for me to get to you. So I would do that too, saying, okay, I can pay this amount, especially emergencies. Like, I can pay this amount today. I have this amount of cash on me today. I don't know if I have any, what I have in the bank. I can't, I don't know what I have. My husband's got money. I wait till I see him tonight, when this little one in the summer, when she had her stroke, we had to take her emergency vet in the middle of the night on a weekend too. It was like a Friday or Saturday night, middle of the night Saturday. Had to take her. She had a stroke. She walks crooked with her back legs, but she's running and jumping, and it was an expensive vet bill that my husband paid because I had no money. So again, it was just, I said it's important to always, talk to your husband, wife, partner, whatever, to help pay with bills when unexpected things come up. Okay, the next one on this list is recreation and then vacation. And I will say, I look at the recreation kind of like the entertainments category, saying we don't do anything. We're probably very boring people. We don't go anywhere. We don't really eat out. We eat out probably, maybe the most, I'd say 5 times a month. Even less than that. We just don't really do anything. As for vacations, we don't do vacations. And I know that sounds really, cat hair on my face. I know that sounds really bad or really different to people, but it's like my husband is self-employed, I'm self-employed, he works 24/7. I work when I was doing my day home, I was working 6 or 7 days a week sometimes. And, our hours are just, whatever we need to work, we work. If you don't work, if you're not gonna go to work, you don't get any money, you can't do anything. So vacation and stuff was not a big deal to me. I love being home, raising my kids. I said I'll travel when I'm, I said by time before I'm 50, all my kids will all be in their 20s. So I'm like, by the time I'm 50 and I can travel, my kids will be working and they can come with me and they can pave their own way. Why should I take them when they're little toddlers? They won't remember. Why not wait and do these big family trips when everybody's over 18 and they can all pay their own way? And then it's like meaningful and everybody will remember more. So we don't do vacations. So, and like I said, me and my husband, we're very basic people. Like I said, like, we don't smoke, we don't drink, we don't really go anywhere. So cat hair up my nose. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna see, I think I'm at the end of this list anyways. Oh, if she would get off the list. Yeah, so then it says, recreation, vacation has got a couple spaces for others. Again, I'm gonna say, I don't really know, like I said, basically, budget for how much you have coming in. And I'm surprised number of people who say they make X amount of money and they honestly believe that how much they make a year is how much they actually bring home. And a lot of people say, well, I have a job where I make $60,000 a year or $80,000, $90,000 a year. But you take that and divide it by 12. How much is you really coming home every month? That actually, when I know there's a few friends I know, and I've talked to them about that, and I've talked to them about credit cards, and I'm like, you pay off your credit card, so now your credit card's down to 0. Why do you want to then go and get a second credit card, and now you're going to max them both out? You just paid everything off. I mean, that's one thing, is that I do have a couple credit cards. So I've got one that's for a gas, grocery store, and I use it mostly for gas when I'm between paydays. I have a couple other that I got because they're just the fun little, a couple of the ones in the mall, which really accidentally found out that one, it might be for the one store in the mall I can use anywhere. And then I do have one for Walmart, and that one I used for groceries. Between paychecks, again, just so I know I can have groceries and my car gas. And then I'm one of those people who, I spent X amount on groceries before I got paid. Now I've got paid. Now I'm gonna take this amount and I'm gonna pay my credit card off right now because I borrowed this money ahead of time. That's what credit cards are for. They're for borrowing money before you have it. And you always wanna keep your credit cards, to keep a good credit rating, knowing how much your credit cards, how much limit is on each card, and keeping it at about 20 to 30% on your card really helps your credit rating. Also, I have this other tip about credit cards. If you really wanted to make it look like you're really good at paying off your credit cards, don't wait for your monthly statements and pay the minimum balance when the credit card statement comes out. Yes, it's important to pay when your credit card statement comes out and pay your minimum balance, but pay more if you can. I've been one of those people, I know what it's like to have a credit card statement and I barely have enough money to pay the minimum balance. But you pay your minimum balance. Try to pay more than that. I like to pay, $25 to $50 a month on each of my credit cards because I kind of had to max them. I kind of have them up a little more than I wanted to in the recent past few months. I've had to borrow money on my credit cards. Don't want to admit to that one, but I've had to. So my credit cards are kind of up a little more than where I like to keep them. But the other tip is to, actually, if you make 2 payments in a single month. So if you get paid bi-weekly, pay your credit cards bi-weekly. So even if you were to miss your minimum balance at the end of the month, but if you've made a payment during that 30 days, it does help. So if you have I know some people get paid one time a month, but if some people have that where they can get that extra paycheck, an extra couple $100 in the middle of the month, use that money to do an extra credit card payment. It would be amazing how much interest you will get deducted off. You made 2 payments in that same month, if possible, even if you just put $10 on each 2 times. It does save you interest because when the credit cards count interest, it's compounded daily. I know, it's really, I know all this stuff. Me and my ex-husband, we actually went to debt consolidation places, and they explained all this stuff like in detail, how to really sit down and write a budget. And we went to them and we sat down with our expenses, and we said, well, you know, we're writing down how much, you know, our rent was, how much he brought in, you know, like we had his statement, his paycheck statements. I had the child tax. I knew what I had coming in. You know, we brought in a copy of our bank statements, and we did a budget, and we wrote down, well, how much we pay for rent, how much is each of our utilities, how much did we spend on groceries, you know, like how much did we spend on baby formula, baby diapers, you know, little kids at the time. I think our son was just newborn. Yes, he was less than a year old. He was about to turn 1. So we had 3 kids, you know, like there used to be 1, 4, and 5. And so we tried to go to the debt consolidation place because we just had, you know, stuff sitting in collections that we just couldn't deal with. My student loan was in collections. We had I had a credit card for some other store credit cards that went into collections. There was nothing really, like the amount that was owing on them was not, my cards weren't maxed out, but I still had money owing on them. We had some other store credit cards that we had gotten together. The cell phones at the time were really, really horrible. You pay off your phone, you pay off all this stuff, and you disconnect, and then, you know, like 3-4 months later, they're sending you a bill like you owe us $1,000, you know, like really stupid, ridiculous things. And so we had all this stuff, and we did the budgeting for a full month. We stuck to our budget. In fact, we actually saved money that month, and it was like I'm like, we didn't really save the money. I mean, we didn't eat out for that whole month, and we saved $10 by not eating out and not using the credit cards. We saved $10, and she looked at us and said, sorry, we can't help you. You've done everything on our list. You have no money. All the money you have coming in covers all your expenses. The best thing she could do is help us get into social housing. So we ended up back in social housing. We thought we were doing good, and we got ourselves out of social housing. Within a year, we were back in social housing, in a better place, but back in social housing. And then we were able to really just save money. You know, our rent was then based on our income, not the government money, but what my ex-husband brought in, and we went in. And so every month, like, because he would have times when he wasn't working full-time, so our rent really fluctuated month to month based on his income. But I said, you know, we found a way to, you know, start to pay off all those bills and everything. But to say that we hit a point where we were struggling trying to figure out how do we pay off our debt, we went for a full month to this debt consolidation place, and there was like, it was a full workshop, a full 30 days. And we did the full 30 days. It was a big booklet. I have it. In fact, I still use it. That's how this is just a simplified version of my booklet. And like I said, it was big, detailed, and it had like every expense, and down to like, oh, you're counting pennies. Like, how much did you really spend on groceries today? And I would write down where we went shopping, and I'd write down to the exact penny. Plus, I had to have the receipts to prove to them that this is how much we brought in and this is how much we spent. And to say that, you know, without using the credit cards, all we could save was $10. The only reason we got to eat out and stuff was because we used some credit cards. The cell phone and a landline, and they said you have to, you know, at that time it was like, well, even with social services, they said they don't trust cell phones. They want everybody to have a landline. Harder to cut off a landline than it is for a cell phone. So just bonus stuff, you know, just extra things. I mean, I could go on and on about, you know, budgeting and stuff, because I got myself out of debt. Actually, my ex-husband, we actually got ourselves out of debt, and then we went through a divorce, and then we both ended up in debt separately. But I got myself out of all that debt. Again, in the last couple of years, just a couple of years ago, I finally paid off my student loan. My course I took was in 1999, and I finally paid it off in 2000 and shoot, I'm trying to remember. I think I paid it off just, because I want to say like 2020. I think it was just partially through the COVID stuff, and the bank was closed and hard to get to. So I think it was like right then. And I walked into the bank one day and I'm like, yeah, my final payment, my student loan is finally paid off. It's taken me all these years to finally pay off. I'm like, I'm paying it off, and my kids are, going to be going to university. So that was like, yeah, I think it was 2020, because I said, I've got 2 graduated in high school, they want to go to university as soon as this COVID stuff is dealt with. I said, so I'm finally out of my student loan, and my kids are just going to get theirs. And so the lady at the bank said, well, you'll be glad that it's finally paid off. And then a couple months later, I get a check in the mail because I overpaid my student loan, so they had to owe me like $76 or $78, whatever it was. So I had to go back to the bank, and I was so excited. I paid off my student loan, but I overpaid, so they're paying me back. So that was unexpected. It was a little bit tricky because my student loan was in my maiden name, and that was 2 marriages ago, so I'm on my 3rd last name, and I was so worried that this check would not be allowed to go through, but it went through. So I guess I hear vehicle. I didn't know what that was. Just a big diesel truck out there. Again, I guess that'll be the end of my video, because I've done all my calendars and budgets and everything, and I said it's so hard to live on nothing. I've done it. Single mom, 4 kids, only income is child tax. And at that point, it was nothing compared to what it's been in recent years. And I don't know, I've managed to do that by sticking to a budget. I mean, I stick to this budget, about as much as I can. But I keep my receipts, and I look at what I spend my money on, and I do double guess myself, and I do think maybe I shouldn't have bought that today. Maybe I should have waited, because I can't say the number of times I see something and I will buy it, and then I'll find it cheaper somewhere else within like a week or 2. But I don't really do that. If I need a big item, I will go to like 5 or 6 stores and price check before I purchase a major. Yes, I've done my monthly budget for March. I know how much I have. I just got the child tax, just came in on the 20th. So that money has to do me, till March 20th. And so I know it's like $500, and my car gas is $60 a week, and then I've got food, and I said I think my food budget is like $100 a week, and you can add that up and say that's already over $500. $500 will give me a month's worth of groceries and 1 week's worth of gas, and that doesn't even count paying my cell phone bills. But I'm not worried right now. My husband's got savings. I have enough money that I can coast through with my bit of savings. I do have savings. It took a long time to save anything and to actually get into savings. So I'm just gonna coast through the next couple of months. My husband said he's got enough in his savings account that if he made no money, all our bills are fine for about 6 months. Unless something major comes, and then he said then it's wiped out. So that's where we are. That's one reason why we need to sell this house. It's the property taxes really went up, and adding that carbon tax to our utilities really made a huge impact. And then not having the kids, like my son, when he turned 18, so every time one of my kids turns 18, well then I lose that income for that child tax. And that is, and I will say there's a lot of families who really rely on other income because they don't make enough. And I know what it's like to have no money. And so right now, all of our savings and everything is in this house. So my husband's looking at other investment opportunities because when we sell this house, there's going to be just straight cash sitting in our bank. I mean, I don't really want to discuss that, but my husband's worried that, you know, anything can happen with the bank. And so we're looking at other options to kind of have our money, you know, flexible in a few different saving plans. Now, I don't do the saving market stuff, whatever. My husband does GICs and he's got his RSPs. I don't have any RSPs set up, so I think he's gonna put some RSPs for me set up because I don't have any set up. And myself being 45, I have no retirement money saved. He has his retirement. In fact, you know, like, he's quite a few years older than me. I would say he's 17 years older than me. So he's closer to retirement. So he hasn't touched his pension. He's like, no, if we can just coast through the next year, if we can coast through just one more year, then that's one more year of him not touching his retirement. That will give us a little bit more money and a little more flexibility coming up in the next couple of years. So selling this house, you know, liquefying all our assets, like basically going through my house, selling all this extra furniture we have, simplifying, saying I have a lot of kitchen gadgets. I do candle making, soap making, chocolate, candy making, all my baking. There's a lot of that stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be interested in doing some of that stuff. A lot of that stuff is doing stuff with my kids, and now I don't know if I really want to do any candle making or soap making. It was fun to do, but I don't know. I've got all these molds and I've got soap and wax based stuff, and I don't know. I think I might just end up using what I have and just selling my molds. And then even some of my candle wax that I have, I've got it for so many years. I'm like, do I want to use it? Do I want to sell it? I mean, I can sell it because I kind of need the money, but I'm like, I'll say it's really funny is selling my stuff. Oh, it's just my dryer. Okay, so selling my candle making supplies, or do I make the candle and, you know, give the candle as a gift? And so I'm like, well, what do I want to do? I can keep the molds for now and keep the wax and everything now, make my candles, make my soaps, give them out for gifts, and then still sell the molds when I'm done with them. So, because I don't need the money today. If I needed the money today, I would find all my candle making and all my soap making stuff, and I would sell it as a big bundle, soap making stuff, candle making stuff, and just sell it, but I don't need to. I sold a lot of it off. And then I walk it through my house with how empty this house is. And I'm like, yeah, this is kind of how it was when we moved in. I didn't even have, when we moved in, there was nothing on this entertainment stuff here behind me, except the TV and our gaming system and the VCR and the kids' movies and stuff. Yeah, DVD player, VCR. And just what do we have? We had the Super Nintendo and a GameCube and an original Xbox. So that's what was over here. And so, you know, and just whatever, we didn't really have too much. And now I'm walking through the house, I'm like, I like this, where it's nothing here. I've got all my stuff is packed, and I'm like, you know, I have a lot of stuff that I've had packed. We've been here for 13 years, and I have bins that I have not unpacked of stuff. And I'm like, I think when we move, that stuff is not gonna fit in the next house. And I'm like, I just came to the realization like last night and this morning, that stuff is packed. It doesn't matter. I can let it all, most of it go. I can't say all, because there is like memories and stuff. If I start going through that stuff, it's going to be, you know, hard to get rid of. But there's a lot of the stuff. Right now it's packed and it's ready to be moved. When we move over, I will be doing another big decluttering. because I said the stuff that I haven't packed is the stuff I love. And I'm just looking around saying, yeah, there's not much out here. So I know what I had for stuff everywhere. And I'm like, wow, I have a lot of stuff I've collected over the years that, you know, I mean, I buy it like garage sales, secondhand stores. I get it from free from, you know, like garage sales, or we've got Kick It to the Curb program here. So stuff is easy to get, but I don't spend a lot of money. But like I said, I'm trying to say yes. So, and I'm my baking stuff. I had a lot of baking stuff. My kids were little. I was raising my kids. I make them their special cakes for their birthdays. Well, I recently got rid of the Dora cookie, the Dora cake pan, the Cookie Monster cake pan, the Elmo cake pan. Actually, I still kept SpongeBob because I think that one is funny. I want to make my son one more SpongeBob cake before I get rid of that one. But there's just a few things. I'm like, yeah, there's just so much stuff. My kids have just gone through everything from, you know, infant, toddler, preschool, school age. Now they're 3 over the age of 18. My youngest is 16. So I'm like, there's nothing really here. And like I said, we need to sell this house and we need to go to the next step of my husband, for our lives. Like, we've just spent, you know, last 15 years together just raising the kids. And so, sorry, so yeah, I know I'm stuck about the monthly budget, and then I go to other things and yeah, I remember when we had no money, and I know it was like, you know, struggling paycheck to paycheck, just trying to buy, you know, pay your utilities, pay your rent, buy food, and to hit a point where it's like, we've got enough that we can stay in this house and we can just coast through for the next 6 months while we sell the house. And then once the house sells, we're back to, what are we gonna do? We don't know what we're gonna do next. So I guess I'm going to end the video here, and I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who's subscribing to my channels and watching my videos, and I will see you in the next ones. Bye.